Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the game's opening up the 9th generation of Pokemon. At long last, our dreams of an open-world Pokemon game have finally been realized. Or have they? What's going on, guys? Dove here, and today I'll be going over my review of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I have lots on my mind, and, Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna start things off by biting the bullet, ripping off the bandage, and addressing the Don fan in the room. Pop quiz! What do the Viridian Forest, an Anteater, and these games all have in common? They're full of bugs! As of writing this review, the games run terribly. There are several bugs and glitches that keep ruining the experience, and so far they have not been patched. These range from minor graphical clip-ins to major game-breaking bugs, and I'm not even going to try to list them all. Here, please suffer through this short compilation for a moment. Little note, some of these have been patched since the December update, but most of them have not, and the game still needs a lot of work. Nintendo has claimed more patches are coming, but, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. The environments, while potentially can be breathtaking, are soiled by muddy textures, poor optimization, janky frame rates, and a smorgasbord of other issues that really shouldn't be present. Additionally, many of the fantastic improvements that Pokemon Legends Arceus made to the battle system, where physical attacks make visual contact, are also not here. Which is mind-boggling. After the stellar reception received from Pokemon Legends Arceus, it's hard to believe that this is what came after. You know, this isn't really meeting that Nintendo seal of quality, and I really gotta say that if this game were a Thanksgiving turkey, Gordon Ramsay would be very upset. You wouldn't eat your poultry undercooked, so why shouldn't a game belonging to the most successful multimedia franchise in the world, which is worth over $100 billion, by the way, not follow the same rules? Yes, the Switch is in dire need of an upgrade, but I don't want to hear any Game Freak apologist BS or people telling me that the Switch isn't powerful enough for Scarlet and Violet when Xenoblade Chronicles exists on the same exact platform, looks gorgeous, has voice acting, and runs completely without any glaring issues. No excuses. Nintendo honestly should be ashamed for allowing this game to be published in its current state. It is absolutely unacceptable for a 3D Sonic game to come out better than a Pokemon game in the same year. What is this? If you ask me, the best thing would be for Nintendo to force Game Freak's hand and force them to allow Monolith Software or some other more competent Nintendo studios to be heavily involved with Pokemon's development going forward. Game Freak has shown their technical incompetence time and time again, and if they aren't capable of producing satisfactory results within the required time that they put upon themselves due to the merch, anime, and all the other money-printing shenanigans that TPC has to deal with, then they must expand their workforce with help from other experienced Nintendo developers. The way this game came out and the fact that there still isn't a proper stability patch is pissing me off. I love almost everything that Game Freak did with these games, but this? No. This is absolutely inexcusable. Okay, with that out of the way, let's move on to some positive things. The Pokemon themselves look fantastic. Pokemon no longer look like cel-shaded plastic toys, but now look much more like believable creatures with their new Snap Pokken-esque body textures, which I've been begging for since Pokemon went 3D. Pokemon like Teddiursa and Eevee have visual fur, whereas reptilian Pokemon have scales, birds have feathers, and so on. I really love this art style because it maintains that anime aesthetic while also adding a layer of immersive realism. Please keep this art style and continue to work on it. The cities are also very nice in size, and the heavy Spanish inspiration is great to see. I am a little disappointed that I can't actually go into most of the buildings, though. The usual generic NPCs also have some variation. While many of the trainer classes will often share the same model, their skin tone, hair color, and other features vary, which makes you feel like you're actually battling against different people instead of generic hiker number 32 Robert. Another thing that did annoy me is that while the customization for the trainers is supposedly better, we're locked to 4 outfits. Which is kind of false advertising when you think about it. The only one with even any drip at all is the winter outfit with the suit. Maybe this will change with inevitable DLC. It had better. The music, as always, is amazing, and the legendary Toby Fox decided to stick around for the ride, and I want him to stay involved with Pokemon's music forever. Please don't ever get rid of him. Please keep him. He and the rest of the composers for this game did an absolutely fantastic job with the soundtrack. The Team Star music is some of the best in the series, and the Team Star boss theme may very well be my new favorite battle music in the entire franchise. Yes, even beating out Mirror B. The Pokemon also make more noises in battle and in the overworld, which really helps them feel more alive and not nearly as stiff from prior 3D entries. Please keep that up. There are a few issues with the audio I am going to address, though. 1. The Elite Four music had a bug that caused what was otherwise a very great theme to just loop the first 5 seconds, and you wouldn't even know! This has since been patched, but unfortunately I had to suffer. Oh, and also, you can't rebattle the Elite Four. 2. Where is the voice acting. It's 2022, Game Freak. You have over $100 billion in this franchise. Hire some Japanese and English voice actors for the important characters. This is getting ridiculous. Use the people from Pokemon Masters for all I care. They're right there. 3. Could somebody, please, for the love of God, explain to me why putting Ed Sheeran music in the end credits was necessary? Keep that crap out of my Pokemon games. Nothing personal, Ed, but no. Finally, a truly open-world Pokemon game. Please, never go back to the linear formula ever again. I don't think I've had this much fun with a Pokemon game since Generation 5. I truly believe that competitive Pokemon had ruined any enjoyment I could ever have for a casual Pokemon experience again. Thankfully, these games proved me wrong. Running around Paldea and experiencing new Pokemon for the first time is a joy my inner child has been craving for a long time. This is the best 3D Pokemon overworld so far, hands down. One of my biggest complaints with the Pokemon ever since it went 3D is how linear and bare bones the overworlds were. There was little to explore, and I always felt like I was being taken on a tour rather than going on some grand adventure. These games are the exact opposite of that. Please stick with this formula forever, thank you. Trainers in the field now no longer come after you upon entering their line of vision, and instead, you're the one that chooses to initiate the battle by interacting with them. Battling a certain amount of trainers in an area yields rewards from Pokemon and League reps that can be found at various Pokemon centers. This is a great way to give players the freedom of when they want to battle and properly awards them for doing so. Additionally, some QOL features from Pokemon Legends Arceus return, such as the complete removal of the Move Reminder and Name Raider. Instead, these functions just being available via the party menu, as it should be. Breeding can now be done nearly anywhere you want. Want to breed something? Grab a Ditto, and the Pokemon you want to breed, slap the 2 of them into your party, set up a picnic, and wait a few minutes. Maybe go make an IRL sandwich while you do. I'm gonna go make a sandwich. The basket can fill up to 10 eggs at a time, and hatching Pokemon by running around on your mount makes things super fast. However, I must ask, what is with the box system? With each passing generation, the box system gets worse and worse. In Gen 6, it was fluid and worked great. Gen 9's box system is broken. Each box constantly reloads, so you have to wait like 3 seconds till you can see what's in the box. And on top of that, the UI UX is garbage. Why can't they just stick with one control scheme for the box system? Just use whatever's being used in Pokemon Home and stop changing it. Please. It's getting confusing. Pretty darn good. Unlike the prior 3D entries in this series, there isn't a specific set path, so you're not being railed all over the place by annoying groups of people that just want to show you stuff. Once your treasure hunt begins, you have 3 story paths that you can tackle in almost any order you wish. Granted, many of these do not scale with you, and many later game places will send you into a world of hurt. The 3 separate storylines involve the usual 8 gym challenges, the antagonist story, and the giant boss fights which unlock more traversal abilities, which replace the godforsaken HMs of old. Having the game's story split up into 3 separate segments drastically helps with the pacing, and it's a revolutionary improvement that the Pokemon formula desperately needed. Warning, the rest of this segment contains story spoilers. Please skip ahead to the next segment if you have not yet finished the game or do not want to be spoiled. While the story is fairly lighthearted most of the time, I really connected with the characters a lot. Team Star, the antagonist team, is actually just a club of students at the academy who are victims of bullying, and decided to band together to take their bullies down. Unfortunately, after an incident with their plan of vengeance, the bullies dropped out of the academy and Team Star were viewed as the villains. As you defeat more of the Team Star bosses, whose music is amazing by the way, you learn more about their history and the pain they had gone through. As a victim of bullying, I really had a soft spot for this story. It took the Team Skull concept and improved upon it. I'm not crazy about the Team Star grunts outfits, but my god, the music slaps! In Starfall Street, you basically go and raid the 5 Team Star camps using auto battle with 3 Pokemon in order to draw out the camp's boss and challenge them and their car to a battle. Yes, their car. Many of the Team Star bosses can be ferocious in battle, with them being rather challenging at times if you aren't prepared. I was not prepared for some of them. Eri is hardcore and nearly wiped me out. Also, Penny is precious, and if the Pokemon Company were smart, they would release replicas of her EV backpack en masse. The Titan story involves you fighting large Titan Pokemon, somewhat similar to the noble Pokemon from Legends Arceus, minus the dodging attacks and stuff. These Titan Pokemon guard the HMs of the game, otherwise known as Herba Mystica. Arven uses these herbs to craft medicinal sandwiches to heal his mortally wounded Mabostiff, good doggo, that was injured by a Paradox Donphan in Area 0. Your mount Pokemon, Koraidon or Miraidon, depending on which version you're playing, also enjoys sandwiches, and these delicious hoagies will unlock new abilities, such as dashing, swimming, jumping, gliding, and climbing. Doing these expands what you can do in the overworld, so I highly advise prioritizing these whenever you can. The final of the 3 stories is the usual gym challenge. Your rival here is your neighbor Nemona, who's basically a battle-thirsty yandere with ADHD. Think of her like a female version of Barry, if Barry's entire character wasn't garbage. As usual, you tackle 8 gym leaders, but first you must take their very dumb tests, such as game-breaking Olive Ball, Hide and Seek with 5 frames per second Sunflora, Where's Waldo featuring Cringe E-Girl, Dendra Says, Disappointing Snowboarding Level, and so on. The only one I really liked at all was the Ghost Gym. I have my reasons as for why. Look at it, he's just vibing. The gym leaders themselves have a lot of character, and I actually like a lot of them. Especially Larry. Gita, give this man a raise. There's also the faculty staff, who hosts classes at the academy. You can also bond with the teachers at school and receive neat rewards for doing so. This is basically just a worse version of Persona 5 classes, though. The end game is where things get nuts. After completing all 3 story paths and becoming Paldea's newest champion, dealing with Team Star and saving Arven's Mabostiff, I really don't know how to pronounce this one, you and your new friends descended to the Great Crater Paldea to stop an ecological threat caused by Pokemon that have traveled through time via a time machine that was invented by Professor Sada or Toro, who also happens to be dead! Anyway, some of the best Toby Fox music plays here, and as I said before, keep him. Oh, and also the Paradox Pokemon that show up here are broken as all hell. This game has some of the best NPC cast Pokemon has to offer, and I just wish they had voice acting. God forbid. Once you're done with the game, there's a bit to do, but not much. Terra Raids are a blast when they work, and are much more entertaining and chaotic than the awfully boring Dynamax raids from Gen 8. However, after completing the Pokedex, there really isn't too much left to do outside of shiny hunting and, VGC PvP battles. There's not much left. There's an Ace Academy Star Tournament Battle Brawl thing, which replaces the Elite Four matches. That's right, like I said before, you cannot re-challenge the Pokemon League. For some stupid reason. In my previous reviews, I have ranted about the lack of Battle Frontier for like the last 4 generations. Yeah, except guess what? Now there's no Battle Tower either. This is kind of a problem because the Battle Frontier and Battle Tower are great introductions to competitive battling. And we all know that the games need more of that these days to really help VGC grow into the esport that it deserves to be. You can also do harder versions of some of the gym tests for some items, but most of these are just still painfully boring and honestly aren't even worth your time because you can just find the items elsewhere. It's really not worth it. Maybe a future DLC or expansion will enhance the postgame further. There is still much I would like to see added into the games after they patch things up. I guess only time will tell. Until then, I'll be making lots of Pokemon VGC content and teaching people what the games refuse to. Overall, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are very fun games, and what would have been the perfect Pokemon experience is soiled by a plethora of technical issues and several bad design choices. I'm not mad. I'm just lightly salted. Do better.